Here's a gun that most of you will recognize as the Ruger 1022. This is the carbine version, which is the most popular version. However, when you see this blued barrel in this black receiver, they're usually coupled with a wood stock, but this particular one has been switched out to have a synthetic stock. It is the older one with the steel trigger guard, but enough parts have been swapped out on this so that it has the synthetic stock as well as the synthetic barrel band. This particular gun is probably close to 20 years old. This year being 2011, this is early 1990s vintage, but still fires perfectly. They're easy to disassemble, easy to modify, easy to shoot. It's a great all-around firearm. If you're going to go out camping, this is a nice firearm to have just for, you can use it for protection against small critters. Obviously, you're not going to be able to use this to protect yourself against, large animals like a black bear, let alone a brown bear. But it's very light, so if you had to go out on the trail and go for a couple days hike, this is not unreasonable to have on you. These are extremely accurate for what they are, and there are a lot of different options you can buy. You can get bull barrels for this. You can get completely free flow stocks, laminate stocks that are beautiful. Lots of different parts you can swap out in the action. My particular one is more or less bone stock, with the difference, with the only modification that I've made is the extended mag release, which when this firearm was made in the early 90s, they didn't come with extended mag releases. They had little tiny things there. And this one has the original 10-round rotary magazine. This is a Ruger design, a rotary mag. This rotary mag in this Ruger is the most reliable magazine you can use in this firearm. Other things that I've swapped out, or not swapped out necessarily, but upgraded to, is I have this this rail on top for this red dot scope, and there's other optics you can use. I have a 3x9x30 scope that I put on here for when I want to reach out a little bit further. And also internally, I've swapped it out for a an aftermarket extractor, which has increased reliability exponentially. Especially when you're using, subpar ammunition. This particular gun. One other mod that I did is it has the I did the bolt release mod. From the factory, when you have the bolt locked back, the only way to release it is to release it. Man, I don't even know how you used to do it before this modification was made. I believe you have to pull back, push this down, and then release the bolt. But what I've done is I've put in an aftermarket part that allows me to release it by simply pulling the bolt back. It automatically releases itself and chambers around. However, it still doesn't lock back on the last round, which is notorious. I guess technically it's a feature for these 1022s. A lot of people say, hey, you know what, you're not supposed to dry fire, but with the 1022, everybody does it at the end of every magazine that they shoot, because since the bolt doesn't lock back, the only way you know, unless you're counting that you're empty, is when you pull the trigger. Click. No fire. So, knowing that, and if you know the internal parts of this firearm, you'll know that this firearm has a very beefy firing pin. So I would not worry about this firing pin being damaged from dry fire. Has a simple, just inexpensive bar sky red dot, which has both red and green illumination, windage and elevation adjustment. I have installed also a front swivel. Not necessarily for sling, but more for a bipod, just for those days when I want to sit at the bench. Aside from these rotary magazines, you can buy aftermarket magazines, and there's a handful of them. Tactical Innovation makes a large capacity magazine. Ruger just recently came out with their own 25 round magazine. The ones that I like are these Butler Creek magazines. These 25 round Butler Creek magazines have proven to me to be very reliable. This is the Butler Creek 25-22, holds 25 rounds, and these magazines are interesting. Unlike a typical magazine that has a spring inside that compresses as you load the rounds, the spring mechanism is built in to just inside the follower mechanism itself. So as you push it down, it will fill itself full of ammunition, but it will not compress any springs down here. The spring is being compressed inside the follower. There's a few different versions of this Butler Creek magazine. The one you want to make sure you get is the steel lips. These have steel lips, steel feed lips. The other version is called hot lips, which has polymer lips. These are going to be I don't know about reliability between the two, but these are going to be much more durable. These are much less prone to breakage. And the other reason why I like this particular brand of magazines is that you can take two of them and you can couple them. Just like that. And now, instead of just a 25 round, you can take it, flip it over, you got 50 rounds. Have another pair on hand, you got 100 rounds of 22 long rifle ammunition ready to go. And these guns are great for training purposes. There's a lot of aftermarket parts you can get that convert this to feel a lot like an AR-15 platform or even an AK-47 platform firearm. And there's actually even kits that allows you to make this look like an M249 SAW squad automatic weapon. However, it's still going to work the same way. It's going to have the same trigger, same firing control, same bolt carrier and bolt carrier group. So it's really just for looks. So personally, I don't feel the need to go and modify this to replicate the look of an AR. I see the benefit of having having a pistol grip and having the feel and have everything feel like it in your hand, but without the fire controls being the same, I don't see the point. If I'm going to have a 22 long rifle replicate an AR, I would just build an AR-15 with a 22 bolt carrier group and a dedicated 22 long rifle barrel. That way I can have the exact control, the exact feel, the exact motions that I'm going to be using my AR-15 for. So this one I like to keep just the way it is because it makes it really light, makes it really easy to grab and go. And for a shit hit the fan situation, this is one of the nicest rifles to have in my opinion. Of course you want to have some high power rounds too, like a 7.62 by 39 in an AK or a a 5.56, but not everybody can have thousands and thousands of rounds of ammunition in those chamberings, but most people can spend in the neighborhood of $100 or $200 and store literally thousands of rounds. You can get these federal 550 round value packs for about $20. So for $200 you can have over 5,000 rounds ready on hand to go. and you get a couple of these, you could be ready for some serious situations. And don't kid yourself, these 22 rounds are not they're not for kids. Yes, these are the types of firearms that most people teach their children how to shoot, but you do not want to get hit with one of these. And these are lethal, definitely lethal rounds. These don't really fit into any kind of tactical nylon real easily, but in my opinion, having these 4 25-round magazines is an ideal way for what the tactical community calls going slick, which means you have a magazine in the firearm and then your spares just tucked away in your pocket. So you're just walking around your civilian clothes. In a shit hit the fan situation, you don't want to appear as a target, especially when there's danger lurking around and you're just trying to get from point A to point B. You want to stay kind of low key. So that's why I think this is a great firearm for that. It's reliable. Although the 22 long rifle round, especially these inexpensive ones, can get really dirty. So proper maintenance needs to be taken to make sure that you don't have any jams. But beyond all that, this is a wonderful firearm to just go out there and have a day of fun at the range with. I've shot probably tens of thousands of rounds through this one and it's still going strong. So there you have it. That is my Ruger 1022